Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Backcast, where I, Adam Upper, talk with Braydon Kenny about Batman, the animated series. And this week is Robin's Reckoning, parts one and two. How you doing today, sir?
I'm feeling pretty good. Got a new mic so that hopefully I'm not going to be popping in and out like I have in the past couple episodes. And we're going to see how this rolls.
Yes, yes, sir. So as I said, this week's episode is Robin's Reckoning parts one and two, which is the production order of 32 and 33. But the air dates is weird as episodes 51 and 53. So they even aired back to back when they aired these, which is weird because they aired February 7th for the first part and then February 14th for the second part. So like and then with like a random other episode like in between there. So that was weird. So do you remember what you're doing February 7th or 14th, 1993? Oh yeah, this is 1993 too. Yeah, so these would be I think only like the second and third episodes, maybe the third and fourth episodes that were in February so far, or they've gone into the new year, I think.
Yeah, so I believe I was on the planet Krypton and being jettisoned by my father to the yellow sun planet of Earth to be raised by the people of Kansas and to hone my powers with the wonderful people of Smallville.
So you're not the Red Sun Superman and landed in the Soviet Union. Do you ever read that one?
I love that story, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know the
Yeah.
best part? He kills Stalin.
So at least the first part episode was written by Randy Rogel and directed by Dick Sabat. Yeah, so it's definitely like the episodes I was talking about earlier where they had like the Akira bike slide, but I guess
Hmm.
we'll get into that as like in the second part. Yeah, but it wasn't 100% if it was like this episode specific, but I knew it was like a Robin heavy episode. Did you ever watching this episode in an initial run,
This one definitely escaped me. I mean, I've definitely seen some Robin leaning episodes,
yeah.
but this one was a interesting take because you got both the present day situation of Robin finally confronting his parents' killers and also the event as it happened and seeing the early days of Robin being taken under Batman's wing.
Yeah, yeah, even though I like how deep this was like in the run, because I said it was like the 51st and 53rd episodes, and like the first season was like 65. So this is like aired near the end of the quote unquote first season. And even then, like being that deep, like I'm surprised they touched on Robin's, parents dying before Batman's really, because they've like
Yeah.
alluded to it, but they've alluded to it, but not like flat out just like showed what happened and like the direct fallout from it and whatnot, like this with this episodes and Robin and whatnot.
Yeah, and you get to see a whole different side of like Dick Grayson and like see his growing up in the circus and stuff. It was really cool. I appreciated the attention to detail and how like it paralleled with the comic book story that it's adapted from. And yeah, I also love seeing Robin with the dark side. Like any chance to see Dick Grayson, like really show like the part of him that Batman relates to, which is
or,
pissed
or I
off and
get
ready to beat people up.
or I guess what or the, in a certain way, I guess is what Batman's trying to avoid in Robin, because
Hmm.
that's like kind of more Batman leading stuff with like his parents being killed and whatnot. So I imagine that that's probably part of the reason why he brought Robin at least this Robin in is because he felt that kindred spirit of both your parents being dead and whatnot, and like and Bruce's knows exactly what it feels like to watch your parents die and where it could take you in the bad way sort of thing with that with what he's doing and whatnot. So yeah, so he's hoping that probably part of the reason why he brought him in is to hopefully avoid him going down the dark side, even though he is still fucking out fighting crime and whatnot. But at least with like the colorings of Robin and stuff, he's like trying to show that he's like, somebody could do better and not dwell in the darkness as much as he is, really.
Hmm. Yeah, this
Uh,
episode opens with Batman and Robin doing a stakeout, and it's kind of funny because like the tone of this is kind of the two-parter having Batman and Robin having a bit of a disconnect and like their approach to things. And you have Robin talking to Batman, and Batman's pulling a handsome Dan, where every time that Robin's asking him something, he's just going, uh-huh. He's just like
yeah,
not listening to him whatsoever.
no, I figure it's probably just like a typical like stakeout for them, but like like Batman being who he is, and then Robin being who he is. Of course, it's gonna be like Robin's gonna be bored and talking his ear off, and then Batman's gonna be like, "Fucking shut the hell up, kid! I'm trying to, this is a stakeout. We need to be quiet and pay attention." So like whatever, just say as little as possible, and hopefully he'll talk himself out or take the hint. But apparently he never does.
Yeah.
This is why I sent you away to college for is fucking shut you up for 5 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, they're at this construction site, and that's where they are catching these mobsters who are trying to sabotage this building that's like getting built, put up together, and trying to extort money by slowing down the building process.
Yeah, because
So
he said they were like professional like saboteurs
yeah,
or whatever he said was like guys just said that'd be like a typical mob thing is just to tie up the constructions the site and hopefully get some more money whatever like so that's why I said like that the one thing like it's like sometimes it's just some like old school like mobster stuff that Batman deals with instead of the superhero stuff or supervillain stuff like every night.
yeah, this is very much like a plainclothes kind of like bad guys episodes. And you have them fighting these guys on this construction site, and it's kind of playful. Like one, you get to see Robin finally having some action, which
Yeah,
has been a while since we've been sorely missed. And then it ends with Batman having this one thug who's like hanging off the edge of a steel beam, and Batman's just kind of like, anytime now, like when you're ready to talk, I'm here. Like, let's get this show on the road. And even when like he's saying like if I talk, they'll kill me. And Robin's kind of like, that sounds like a you problem. So he's
he's like that's
finally
good. That'll suck. I'll see you later. I guess. Bye.
yeah. It's like, well, you're gonna hit the pavement if you don't, so I guess you're dead one way or another. Like, these are the choices that life has presented you.
So yeah, so that's when he like freaks out and says the name Billy Marin, and then
Mhm.
like I think like Robin's like grilling him and stuff. I think right like after he says that he's like trying to get him to say stuff, and the Batman tells him to go home. Then it
Yeah.
looks like he's going to follow him. And he just runs back, and it's like turns into even more scary Batman. He's like, all right, you're going to tell me you're telling me everything about this Billy Marin character.
Yeah,
Is
something
this
clearly about the Marin guy has set Batman off.
is he brother Mark? I want to know what his tour schedule's like.
Yeah. Is he related to Cheech Marin? Are Cheech and Chong in Gotham?
Dave's not here, man.
Dick's not here, man. So yeah, they go back to the Batcave, and Robin's like, "What's the deal, man? Like, like why wouldn't you let me, like go to work?" And he's like, "You keep treating me like a kid." And Batman's just like, "You know what? Stay out of this. Like, this is none of your business." And he's just giving him the cold shoulder, and basically says like, "I'm
This is
gonna be
big. This is big boy
focusing."
time. Stay out
Yeah,
of it, boy. That's basically what he's doing.
yeah. When you wear the grown man tights, then we'll talk.
Yeah, so he drops it off and drives off again, and Robin's like, obviously, like, what the fuck's going on? So
Hmm.
he like, and that's where is that where he goes to like the he goes over to the back computer. Fuck, why did I blank on that for you? And then is that when we do the like the flashback? Started having a flashback, I think.
Well, yeah, he goes to the computer and he types in the name Billy Marin, and that's where it's showing all these like aliases and the police
Oh yeah,
profile.
okay. Oh
One
yeah,
of
that's
the
where.
aliases is Punky Lester or something, and I'm like, what kind of a name is Punky Lester?
Probably
But
play on Punky Brewster, maybe.
yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, and that's where you find out like the why there's like it's an alias for Tony Zucco.
Hmm. And
Uh,
Robin's like, finally, I found you. And then we have a flashback. Diddle-oo, diddle-oo, diddle-oo. Back to the circus where we see a young Dick Grayson with his parents, and he's on the trapeze, and you could see like a whole different side of Robin. We're not used to having a lot of backstory to any of these characters, really. Like usually we're just kind of like, all right, we're hitting the ground running, like Batman, Alfred, like all the Batman characters.
yeah,
So we're taking a peek into Robin's life, and he's walking around the circus, and that's where he overhears the employer, Mr. Haley, being harassed by somebody. Okay, voices. Do you recognize the voice of Tony Zucco?
yeah. It wasn't until like the second episode where sorry, the second part where when Robin called him and he used the tracker on his phone where I figured out that it sounded like
Hello,
Biff,
hello,
Biff, yeah,
McFly.
right, yeah, basically, yeah, definitely, Biff Tannen, yeah. So it took me longer than it should have to recognize his voice, yeah, but yeah, so that I love Biff.
Oh, dude, I was so freaking happy. I was watching the first episode, and I was like, this guy kind of sounds like Biff Tannen. And then I looked up the credits. I was like, no shit, it's
And
Biff Tannen. It's Thomas F. Wilson.
and I like to like I think that if not one of the last time or one of the second last time that both him and Marty's mom were here at for Fan Expo. And like just down the way on Front Street, there's like a restaurant or something like that that's called like Biff's or something like that. So it's on his like Instagram or something like that, where it's like the two of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like out in front of it. I'll send it to you later. It's
Oh,
pretty
dude,
funny.
I've so got to go there. As soon as I get next time I'm in Toronto, I'm going there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's just east of Young Street there on Front Street. Yeah, I think probably close to the yeah, somewhere around there on Front Street.
Right
Right
on.
downtown, right downtown Toronto.
Yeah, so Zuko is like, I'm trying to give you, protection. You wouldn't want something bad to happen to you, would you? And Haley is like, I don't deal with punks like you. Get out of here. I never want to see you again. And he's like, you're gonna regret this. He's walking away. He looks at Dick and's like, what are you looking at, butthead? And then we have this little uh, brief scene of Zuko just before the circus act of the evening, and he's messing with the rope.
Where he
And
is cutting it like halfway through. Yeah, and
yeah, he's got
then the announcer announces like the Flying Graysons, and they go come out from like behind the thing, going out the thing, and then Zuko bumps into Robin, and he kind of recognizes him. He's like, "Hey, that was the guy that was talking to Mr. Haley before." And the parents are like, "Come on, kid, we need to go do our thing, and we need to go die. We need to go.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, we need to go do our canon event here."
Yeah. Look, do you want to live with the billionaire or not? Your mother and I have plans tonight.
or don't have plans for tonight.
They're very short plans. You might say those plans have a sudden stop.
So so they start their trapeze thing, and then they drop off Dick on the one side, and his mom goes and swings out to his dad, and then as she's swinging out, Dick notices like the fray in the line. He's like calling out, he's like, "Oh no, Dad, get it!" And like as she flips to him, and that's where you'll see in like I think the spotlight and it follows her, and then it swings down and it just doesn't come back up.
Yeah, very
Uh,
well done. I was actually very impressed with how they handled it. I mean,
yeah,
considering that these two are falling to their deaths.
yeah,
It was
yeah. Sometimes you have to remember that this was like it was a cartoon meant for children. Yeah, so I guess I suppose even if they are dealing with death, they want to try to frame it as best they can.
yeah. Also, the fact that Dick just yells out "Dad" when it's like, your mom's dying too here, right? Like, is that like
Well,
the Thomas and Martha Wayne thing? Thomas Wayne gets plenty of attention. Like we all remember Thomas Wayne. It's like, oh yeah, I guess Martha was there too.
oh yeah, so that maybe that's why that one scene in Batman versus Superman that was there.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, yeah, Zack Snyder. He's like, hey, she doesn't get enough credit, so we need to bring her into it a bit more.
I mean, she just gave birth to Batman. Thomas didn't have that much work involved in that department. So yeah, actually, Bruce Wayne is in the audience when this happens, and
Yeah, because
actually,
yeah, because this was like Wayne Charities event or whatever too. Yeah, so
that's right. Yeah.
so it's like so I guess like this was like the evil version of Robin, and like went that way. I guess Robin could have blamed Bruce Wayne for putting on the event to kill his parents, and he could have turned into Robin to go after Batman slash
Hmm.
Bruce Wayne. But instead, yeah, like Bruce obviously knowing what that feels like was watching your parents die. He brings them to the house to comfort him a bit to hopefully make him feel better because obviously, his parents just died.
Yeah. And when Dick gets there, he's immediately like hit in the face with a flying bat, like right off the property. I was like, wow, subtle.
Yeah, that's not foreshadowing at all. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and two, like, did you think that the Flying Grayson's like uniform kind of looked like vaguely Wonder Woman-esque, like the design?
You know what? I was thinking a little bit. I was like, I know I've seen that design
Okay,
before. It
okay, yeah,
wasn't
so
until you said the Wonder Woman thing
yeah, like
that it
yeah,
hit me.
vaguely like the golden like the pointy out parts. Yeah, kind of like has like it was vaguely Wonder Woman-esque.
Yeah. It's like I know when you recognize a pattern, but you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I really, I was like, yeah, I knew it was Wonder Woman, which is weird because I really don't really read much of Wonder Woman or did when I did read comics, yeah, because it's
You
been a bit
clearly
since I
read more
read that.
comics than I do because you
I
picked up
guess
on
so.
that pretty fast.
I guess yeah.
Yeah. So that's when Batman or sorry, Bruce is got Dick in the house and he's like, Alfred and I are gonna, make you feel at home here. And basically, like this is gonna be a difficult time for you, but like we're gonna try and, get you through this. And Alfred's like, all right, we'll let you settle in. And you have this like really nice, quiet moment. You know, a lot of shows, especially cartoons, are kind of afraid to have quiet, still moments. But for this, I think it's very appropriate because like this kid just had his whole world destroyed. So like to have him just kind of sit on the bed there and just kind of let it sink in that like his family is gone. Like he has no idea what's gonna happen to him, and he's just got lots of heartbreak and anger in his like heart right now, and like just kind of gives the character a little dignity and respect. So that's when I believe is that when we cut briefly to the present?
I think so, yeah, because is that where like we see like Batman as possibly Matches Malone, like playing some voice
Oh,
for
that's right. Yeah.
what was that in the flashback or was
Oh
that
no, yeah, that was in the flashback. Yeah, because
because I think like after Robin gets her, yeah, he's like Batman's like, hey, I gotta leave or whatever, and he goes to be Batman to try and solve this thing or whatever. Yeah, so he goes and which because when the one guy was like, hey, you're asking too many questions, who the fuck are you? He says like
I'm
was it
Narky McNurkinson.
yeah was it like Smith or something like that? I think he said.
Yeah, like why do you guys are so afraid of Matches Malone?
So I was thinking that might have been him until he said that, unless he was just like unless it's like matches Malone Smith, which I don't think is the case. But yeah, just let him be matches at least once.
Maybe Matches killed Dick's parents.
So yeah,
You
so
must
that's like
suffer as I have suffered.
yeah, so he's they're playing like dice in an alleyway, and he's like I think he's asking about Zuko, and then like the I guess like the boss comes up and he's like, "Dude, you're asking too many questions. Are you are you a sergeant or should we call you lieutenant or something like that?" Basically, they call him a cop, and then they fight.
Yeah,
And
they have a brief fight, and like this one thug turns his back, and that's when like I think this might be the record of how quickly Bruce has turned into Batman. Like in the span of like 2 seconds, he's gone from bum to Batman. And this guy turns around and it's like, there's no way that he can't figure out that this guy's Batman.
or I wonder if or if just went the way he's like, "Oh, this guy must have beat up that guy because he's not gonna check the ground for like how many thugs are on the ground. So if you see
That's right.
Batman like
That's the
right across
story, and
the
I'm sticking to it.
way."
So yeah, he's like, I want to know about Zuko. I want to know where he is. And he says, he's held up in Arthur Strom his uncle Arthur Stromwell's house. So do you recognize Stromwell? He was the guy from It's Never Too Late.
Um, it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he was the guy that he was at war with Rupert Thorne.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And
okay, yeah.
okay, so think about that for a second. That means this is the same mobster who in that episode Batman was fighting to see about getting, like FBI protection so that he could like squeal on like Thorne's operations. What happens when Dick Grayson finds out that Batman enabled one of Tony Zucco's relatives? I don't think that would sit well with him.
Yeah, like, with how many times he's probably dealt with him over the years, yeah, he's probably not gonna be like, "Hey," be, but it's probably just gonna be pissed that he just didn't tell him initially, more than just like for each additional time. Really, I don't
Yeah.
think.
I mean, there's plenty of times Batman's going to do things like without consulting Robin on anything, but it's like, and you didn't think I wouldn't have something to say about this? I usually don't care what you have to say about anything. So yeah, he breaks into Stromwell's mansion, and all right, this scene was so unintentionally funny because he's cornering Stromwell. He's like, I want Zuko. I want him bad. I want him real bad. It's like, is Bruce horny for Tony Zuko? Like,
A little bit, yeah.
if I don't get him, I'm gonna be very, very grumpy. I'm like, I don't think that's the word you're looking for, Batman. I think there's a little grumpy between your pants right now.
Yeah, no, and then that's where the one part where Batman was being a little too singularly focused because he was if I could yell in Tony's name a few times, and then he heard him from like the other room.
Yeah.
So
World's
he was
greatest
like,
detective. He can't figure out he's right in the next room.
or it might have been set up to for like what happens shortly because because as Batman's yelling at Stromwell, they like backs him up into a chair and he sits down, and then as he's like over top of him yelling at him, he puts his hands on each side of the chair and ends up putting like a little bat bug
Mm-hmm.
like under the chair so they can listen to him as he's like, "All right, I'm leaving now, so I believe you that you don't know where Tony is." And he's like waiting outside, and like Tony does like almost like right away comes to the room, and they start talking, and then Batman's like outside listening to him, and then one of the guys, yeah, keeping the place safe or whatever outside sees him and starts like shooting at him. So he's like, and then they're like, then alerts Zuko and Strommel inside, lets him know that he's like, "Oh, he's still here."
Yeah.
Well, of
Yeah.
course, it's Batman. Yeah, you should have expected that.
Do you see a shadow in that corner of the room? Yeah. Well, assume Batman's there, and that's pretty much the policy we take in every criminal operation.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zuko's trying to get away. He jumps in his car and tries to like run Batman over, and he's managing to drive. Oh, dude, I would have paid freaking money to watch him crash his car into a manure truck.
I hate manure. I'm
You
sure they
know
probably
the
try.
animators were tempted.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they try or wanted to put that in there. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broadcasting standards like you can't put manure on a kid's TV show. It's Biff freaking Tannen, dude.
Gotta lighten the mood about friggin' murder somehow.
Yeah. So yeah, he's talking to Alfred when he gets back to the Batcave, and that's when Alfred's like, "You do realize that there's a kid upstairs who's asking where you are, and is traumatized and looking for somebody to talk to,
Yeah, yeah. You give
and
me all you
you've been
give me all,
through this scenario
yeah,
yourself."
yeah. You give me all your attention to Zuko, and and there's like someone else there that needs some of that attention. Yeah,
Yeah. And we
yeah.
have this really sweet scene with Bruce realizing, like, maybe I need to be Bruce Wayne here and not Batman. Really nice bonding moment between the two of them.
Yeah, because it does the whole like, yeah, I know, I kind of know how you feel. You want to be able to do something or yeah, to stop it and whatnot. And just like the whole thing that because obviously like he's felt the exact same way when his parents died or whatever.
Hmm.
And that's I think yeah, I think that's when like they come out of the flashback and like that's where Robin calls Batman in the back and the back car saying like you should have. I know it's about Zuko. You should have brought me with you.
Which arguably he should have, or at least told him what was going on. But I kind very seldom a time where I can be like, I kind of see the reason why Batman didn't say anything. Because I don't know, like, what would happen if this was Joe Chill? Like, would
Yeah,
Dick
like
be telling him to calm down? Like,
like that. I think that's exactly why you know Batman didn't bring him with him. It's because how you exactly feel about Joe Chill.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where he's like, he gets mad. And he's like, thanks for nothing. And like, he jumps on I guess the Robin cycle, I guess, and
Yeah, we'll
takes
go with
it
that Robin cycle.
and goes and takes off. And that's like the end of the first part.
Hmm. Yeah, Bruce is like, damn it, Alfred, I told you to pop the tires on his motorcycle. Tires? Sir, I took out the brakes. So yeah, then it's part two. And I believe it's yeah, like Batman basically is trying to stay one step ahead of Robin. Like he turns off his tracker so that Robin can't find him and like,
No, or yeah, like I think yeah, he gets a little flashy light in the back car, saying that that he's being tracked or whatever, and then he turns it off, and he's like, "Yeah, I told you to sit this one out, Robin," and then he flips to Robin going down that barren road, and then like the map or whatever that he has on the screen goes blank,
mhm.
and then he's like then he starts like cursing Batman, saying like thanks for nothing, jerky Batman.
Yeah.
They'll hit. Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I guess I'll have to look for Zuko on my own.
And you know what? Dick's got the street smarts that he can figure out how to get to him. I mean, by
Yeah,
the end of the episode, he does.
yeah,
So,
I guess Batman taught him well.
mhm. That's the thing. It's kind of cool. Is like that I love about the Dick Grayson character. It's this fine line between the best of Batman's qualities, but also like how much of like Batman's dark side has crept into his personality along the way that he's like constantly having to put in check. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah. Oh no, and I think too. I think we got ahead of ourselves. I think it was like this part is where it flashes to Batman going to Stromwell's place.
Oh yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, so that was like the first part of this episode was Batman as we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Batman going to Stromwell's place, and then Zuko almost running him over and whatnot. And then after that's over, I think is when Robin says, "Okay, I guess I'll have to do it myself," and then like burns down the road.
Yeah. And that's when I think we have another flashback to showing Bruce and Dick like bonding, like he's teaching him how to fence. So what I really appreciate about this is it's Bruce taking the time to invest in him in like a kind of big brother and also kind of father son relationship. like he's not just saying like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, put you in a costume and, you know, teach you how to curb stomp criminals, like not like the Titans Batman, where it's like
Yeah,
pretty much weaponize this poor kid's grief. So that's when he gets a visit from Detective Gordon. Yeah, Gordon's not commissioner at this point. This is before he's risen to that point in his career. And he says, like, we're trying to find Zuko, but we can only kind of pin down like his basic vicinity to this neighborhood. And if he escapes, like, it's a good chance that, you know, like this case is just going to be, you know, completely a missed opportunity.
yeah,
And that's where Dick overhears everything. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to, you know, find Zuko on my own. Sneaks out
yeah.
of the house.
And yeah, and what happens when he sneaks out? I can't remember what happened. Can't remember.
He goes to like a seedy part of town and he's like got a like wanted sign of Zuko. So he's like,
Oh
have
yeah,
you seen this guy?
oh yeah, and that's sort of the part where like where he sees that one random guy, and then like when it's far away, it kind of looks like the Question because he just has like a fedora on and has like
He did kind of look like the Question.
it has like zero. There's like no like detail on his face, and then it flashes around, and then it flashes back. He's like a lot closer, and then yeah, then at that point it does have like actual face features on him and stuff. So I was like, are they trying to like are they sneaking him in, like, or was that on purpose, or if that was just by accident because it was part of the flashback.
It's art, it's subjective, it's whatever you want to see.
Yeah.
We
So
know
yeah,
what
so
Jaffe wants to see. He wants to see the Question.
yeah, so yeah, and I like and 12-year-old me would 100% would have known who the Question was, so I wouldn't have known. Yeah, I would have thought of that then. But like when I in this watch around this time around, I at least know who the Question is. So
Yeah.
it definitely made me think
And
of
one
that.
of the places that like Dick stops by is called Fat Polly's Pool Hall. I'm like, wait, like Polly from Goodfellas? Is that part of Batman canon? Yeah, Paulie had this system of making people like Zuko vanish into thin air with just a little bit of money. It's a very good system.
Sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah. All right. So then we have this moment of Dick kind of being pre-Robin, like kind of showing off his like fighting skills. I mean, as well as he can when you're pretty much just a trapeze artist. And when I saw this scene, I'm like, wait, is this a pimp and a hooker? And I looked at the DC. Yeah, it literally says like the article is like this is a prostitute and a pimp. Like, like it is exactly as telegraphed here. It's amazing the stuff that just slides by the censors that like we catch pretty quick, but like clearly the people in charge of like the broadcasting and standards just like went right over their head.
Or I guess if you don't specifically say like what the money is for and whatnot, you can just like you can kind of infer without actually saying, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if somebody complains, they're like, "Well, he never said they were a hooker." She's like, "Hey, you owe me. You're supposed to give me money. You're skimming." So that's all we said. Plausible deniability,
She's a
but they're
lady of the night.
she's out at night. What?
Roxanne. So yeah, Dick manages to save this woman's life and beat up the thug single-handedly. Like kudos, like he's like a 10-year-old kid. He just kicked the crap out of a pimp. Like, all right. And that's when she like thanks him and buys him dinner. When he's getting food, that's when the waitress is like, I recognize that guy. He's a guy who like never tips and like always like has like lots of snarky attitude. He's in that building down the street.
Or yeah,
And Dick,
across the bay or whatever.
yeah. So Dick goes to the building that he's hiding out in, and he pulls a Harvey Bullock and trips over a can, and that's what sets him off. And Zuko's like, I recognize you. You're the kid who's the sole witness to the murder I committed. I mean, you're not wearing a wire, are you?
Yeah, he's like the material witness or whatever. Yeah, he even says that instead of just like that kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zuko's about to kill Dick and say, "Say hi to your mom for me." I had to go there. I had to. Sorry. I'm not sorry. And that's when Batman shows up and saves Dick at the last second. And you know what? I like this OG Batman costume, man. Like, I don't know why. I've always liked the kind of simplicity of the bat symbol. I like less yellow in my Batman costume. I know
Yeah,
it's
same.
less comic booky, but yeah, I wish he kind of stuck with this. That's just my personal preference. And Zuko manages to escape as he's like kicked Dick into the river.
But
That's
yeah,
an odd
yeah.
sentence to say out loud.
I know. Yeah, I
I
know.
just
Yeah,
heard that in my head. I was like, wait
yeah,
a
like
second.
yeah. The flashback when every time like Bruce was calling like like 9-year-old Dick Grayson Dick, I was like, could you call like the 9-year-old like Richard and like wait until he turns into a teenager and wants to rebel a little bit to start calling him Dick, or do you think his actual name is actual not Dick short for Richard, but just actual like Dick?
My name is Ryan. But everybody keeps calling you Dick over there. So
Yes.
yeah, he manages to save him, pull him out of the water, and he Dick goes home with a stranger.
No,
Everybody,
no. That's the thing. Like the thing I hear is happening is like that. Like as Batman is saving Robin from the water, they get back and Zuko manages to get away, and then Robin sees that he
yes,
got away, and he's like free. Like obviously he's mad at Batman for letting him get away, even though he was saving Robin's life and drowning in the rushing water. He's like, I'll do this. Does he say like at this point like I'll do anything to uh, to get
well,
him or
Batman
whatever?
brings him back to the cave, and then he
But
says, like, how committed are you to, like finding
yeah,
someone like Zuko or stopping someone like
yeah,
Zuko?
because it directly he directly like references like whatever it is that Robin says as he's mad and hitting Batman and stuff. And yeah, so he goes back and he's like, and he kind of looks up, and that's when he demasks and shows Robin that he's bad. Batman is Bruce Wayne, and that's then you hear Alfred come up from behind, yeah, like out from the shadows. He's like, "Oh, it looks like Master Robin's stay will be indefinite." Because he obviously knows that. I imagine that he probably discussed this with Alfred beforehand. Do you think it's a good idea that we tell him, or do you think it was like a on the spot thing?
Well, if we tell him and it goes poorly, then we'll just kill him.
No, I just meant like, do you think he like talked with this discussed with
I don't
Alfred
think that
beforehand?
Bruce talks to Alfred about his like executive decisions. I think he just says, "Shut up and do what you're told."
or just roll with anything that's going on and just sure, it'd be a good Alfred find out that Alfred has some like background in like improv acting, so he just rolls with whatever Bruce slash Batman is saying at the time. So
Yeah,
it sounds like so he sounds like he knows what's going on.
yeah. Alfred's just like, "Well, I'm in this deep. I guess there's nowhere to go but further down."
So that flashback is done, and then as I said, this is the part where I figured out that Zuko was Biff because Robin calls wherever Zuko is, and he answers the phone, and Susie answered the phone. I was like, that voice does sound familiar, and that's when I looked up on IMDb, and it's because I guess he sounded more Biff in this one and stuff, and then he had like the phone track or whatever else, and he starts screaming at the guys, and like the whole time I'm like, yeah, it's totally Biff. Like I could not see him as that after that.
I was so freaking happy. Like I was like a kid on Christmas morning. Like, I
Uh,
love you, Bruce Tim. Thank you for this
yeah.
gift.
So so he's like on the phone for a minute, just does Robin actually talk to him, or is it just be quiet and then like Zuko is like just starts talking into the phone, being like,
Yeah,
"Hey, who's
he's
this?"
quiet and he just kind of lets the tracer do its work and wants to confirm it's Zuko's voice on the other side.
Yeah, and then
And
then the boys were like, "Hey, what was the phone call and stuff?" And that's where they figured that the phone like the trap was a trap, and then Zuko starts shooting it into the ceiling above him, and then that's where you're like, once he stops shooting and empties out the Tommy gun, it's Batman comes crashing
falls
through.
right out of the ceiling. I thought it was gonna be
Yeah,
like that scene in Breaking Bad where like the bloody chunks fall through the floor.
yeah, yeah, and he like falls through and like fucks up his knee as he falls through, which
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't done more of. But I guess that's kind of what were referencing in the third Chris Nolan Batman movie when he goes to the hospital at a time and he gets the knee X-rays and he has like zero cartilage left on his knees. It's probably because he's probably had that happen to him like 2 or 3 times to each knee.
Why do I have a feeling that like either out of sheer stupidity or Bruce putting on like that fake rich billionaire persona, it's like, well, I could just buy synthetic cartilage, right? And like the doctor's like, I mean, if you put enough money into that kind of science, maybe, but like you know what? Let's sort that out with legal. Like, I'm sure you have a whole healthcare plan that I could never afford.
Just don't trace the legal human trials back to me, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, as your doctor, I can't condone this. But yeah, this was my favorite part because like Zuko is unhinged in this scene. I watched like he hardly blinks for the rest of the episode. His eyes are bugged out. Like he looks like he's on like the strongest cocaine that like Gotham City. He knows like the second he falls asleep, like Batman's coming for him. Cause he's like heard from his thugs, like, Batman's looking for you. He's like, oh shit. He's just freaking out. Like, why does Batman want you? I don't freaking know. Like, and that's the sad part. He doesn't.
Oh, yeah, he just figures it's another Batman thing. Yeah, so yeah, so after he falls through the roof of the ceiling of the room, they get chased out into the band. Like, do you figure this is like an abandoned amusement park or just closed up for the night amusement park?
I figure that it was an abandoned one, which was like, what if Zuko like camped out in the Joker's territory? He's gone
Yeah,
from
yeah, I was
like
always
being,
wondering if it was the same one or not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what if he's like gone from like, oh no, I'm like between like Batman and the Joker, like I might as well just jump in the water and swim to England, then.
Or in that case, like how many with that how many abandoned music parts are in Gotham as a whole? Then do you think?
Clearly too many. Why does nobody want to come to the amusement park in Gotham? Oh, right. Bad stuff happens here.
So
So
yeah, so
yeah, that
as Batman is fighting fighting the goons throughout the music park, you see that Robin on his way there,
yeah.
and again there's like the bridge where I think they animated like the bridge up a little point up a little too high because I don't think even as a cartoon I don't buy him making this jump and like landing okay enough on the other side.
Oh no, yeah. He's like he must have fallen like at an 85-degree angle. Like,
So like the weird ass bridge, yeah, it goes up on that, and then as I said, like this is the part where he finally gets to the docks on the amusement park and does the cure slide that we
mm-hmm.
see in the intro of like seasons 2 through 4. So another part of that, and then he starts freaking out on Zuko.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he dragged Zuko like behind his, grabs him by the back of his shirt and drags him across the dock, like ready to like kill him. It was amazing. I love Angry Robin. Like Robin gets so many like is the butt of so many jokes in the Batman universe, but dude, you piss Robin off enough, he will go ape shit on you.
Yeah. So he gets up and he starts freaking out on Zuko, and then Batman comes in and he's like, and then Batman tries to stop from killing him, and Robin starts freaking out at Batman, being like, "Hey, you don't know what, hey, like you gotta really do this. You don't know what it's like. Don't know what this feels like." I'm like, of anybody, I think he's probably one of the few people that does
Like,
actually know
ouch, old chum.
yeah, so yeah, then with that, Batman kind of gives him that look, and then kind of gets him out of it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you actually do know what I'm going through." Where you at?
And the best
Because
part was like Zuko in the background, his face is just frozen. Like
he's
he's
like,
just
"What?
looking between like Robin and Batman and just like
I have no idea what the fuck's going on right now."
I'm feeling so much right now. I kind of just want to die and have this be over with. That's when they arrest Zuko, when the cops come, and that's when they have a little moment between Batman and Robin, where
Yeah,
Robin's like,
Robin.
"Thanks."
Yeah, Robin says you're right for not bringing me along with you to take care of this. And he said like Batman tells then Batman says to him that was not the reason why you wanted Robin out of it, and then he said Batman was afraid that Zuko might take Robin away from him as well, instead of Robin killing Zuko.
Yeah. Which, you know what? Like, given kind of the whole perspective that we've been really following Robin's point of view for this duration of the episode, it does kind of bring it and tie it up nicely, where you see,
Yeah,
like, Batman actually is the family you have left, and, like, he does care a lot about you.
yeah, because this whole thing, yeah, actually shows that Batman slash Bruce actually does have a heart under there somewhere,
Yep.
and does value his friends. They're just using them for being a Robin and another tool to take down the crime in Gotham.
I love you, Human Shield.
So yeah, so what would you give this episode out of five Robins?
I am gonna give it 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 Robins.
4.5.
This and Two Face are one of the episode two-parters that I think justifies having two parts. I think that it gives a story enough time and detail and pacing that it needs, and it's a really good character piece. I like that you get to see a whole different side of Robin, you see a whole side of Batman, and Biff Tannen's in it. What else can you say?
Exactly. Yeah. I think I'll give this 4 out of 5 myself. Yeah, it was a nice uh, throwback. Oh, no, not throwback episode, like a flashback episode to like that him like getting Robin, or how Robin came to be, sort of thing, and how he and his relationship with Bruce Wayne and then Batman and whatnot, and then also bringing it into the current times where he's actually having to try and deal with the person that killed his parents and whatnot. So it's definitely a really good two-parter, and yeah, I think I'll give it a 4 out of 5 myself as well. Any last words on this episode?
Tony Zucco gets to go to jail with the entire cell block finding out you got your ass kicked by Robin.
Not Batman, but Robin. Yeah.
He's at the bottom of the prison totem pole.
All right, everybody. That is thanks for joining us this week in the Batcave to talk about Batman the animated series. And next week's episode will be the Laughing Fish, which I think is a Joker episode, if I'm not mistaken. Which I'm not sure which one that will be. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So yeah, so join us next week for that. You can follow us on Twitter/X at Beyond Backcast, on at Instagram at Beyond the Backcast, and we are on YouTube now at youtube.com/ at Beyond the Backcast. Check us out there, and if you're checking us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. It'll help us out a little bit. And where can we find you on the internet, Braydon?
You can find me on Instagram at Alfred Izzati.
What was
And you
that?
can also find me on Facebook for Beyond the Backcast Facebook page. And we also have a Discord chat now. And you can find that on our link tree.
Oh yeah, so it's Linktree / Beyond the Backcast or at Beyond the Backcast, whatever that is. Wherever, if can't remember if you need that in there or not. Actually, I don't think so. Yeah, so Linktree / Beyond the Backcast. And you can follow me on Instagram at Stump Chuckman. And as I said, thanks for joining us in the Batcave to talk about Batman. Hear us talk about Batman the Animated Series. Hey, goodbye, good chums. Kapow.